Hello everyone, welcome back to the Looney Bin. My name is Looney and I want to discuss something that has resurfaced in a small Final Fantasy VII community, but I think it's important to talk about this because frankly, there's a lot of people that I've noticed just do not understand this very specific point of the story. And it causes this really terrible interpretation of a character to the point that not only does it mischaracterize that character, but completely tries to vilify them. And using that vilification, they try to prop up another character. Which, by the way, if you ever do that, if you cannot critique a character aside from slandering that character and using that slander to find a way to prop up your favorite character in order to prove your character is much better, that is a form of not even a critique. That is just insecurity because you don't like the idea that the other character could possibly be more popular than your favorite. So instead of critiquing that character in a way that is at least respectable, at least healthy, you try to shit on that character in any way possible, even creating interpretations that maybe you don't actually believe, but you don't care because your whole goal, your whole agenda is to make sure that your character looks much better in comparison. And that is one of the worst things I hate about just in general, in fandoms in general, because agenda brain rot has just completely devastated any sort of fandom you're a part of. And it's one of the things I really despise. And what the take is that has been resurfacing is this whole thing about Tifa lying to Cloud about the events at Nibelheim. She is withholding information. She's not going to Cloud and telling him the right information. She's holding back, and because of that, she is lying to Cloud. She's being mean to Cloud. She is doing everything possible to lead Cloud on, and gaslight him. And it's just so frustrating because that is not what is happening at all in the story. And it's not even something where maybe it's hinted at, the writer isn't clear enough. No, the writer is very much in your face in regards to it. I don't know how much more clearer he can be at all. It's just such an insane thing to think about that is your take. That is what you decided that is your interpretation of it, and thus vilifying Tifa as a character. Why in the world would an author ever do anything to make a character look like they're the villains of the story, or like one of the heroines of the story look bad? Why would they do that? Just that common knowledge is just baffling to me that people do not understand. And it's really because of some agenda. Maybe it's some sort of lack of knowing how to critique a character without going into slander territory, right? It doesn't matter who you like as a character. You can dislike characters. You could prefer one character over the other. But the last thing you should ever do is slander one character to prop up your own, to make yours look much better. And this is coming from a lot of Aerith fans. Maybe some even, well, maybe not some. Most of it is also from Cleric shippers as well, because they don't like Tifa. They absolutely hate Tifa to the point where they create this slanderous takes. So I'm going to tell you exactly why this take is really bad and why Tifa is not doing any of the things they are claiming. Because one, for the most part, she's not villain. She's not the villain of freaking Final Fantasy VII. She's not doing any of this to become a bad person, to be a bad person. She's doing this for a reason, and I'm going to explain what that reason is, because apparently Nojima can't even put it right in your face to make sure that you really understand what is happening here. The whole thing about Cloud's memory is that it is fuzzy. He understands and has the correct memory, but his perception, his point of view of the memory is completely wrong. And there's a reason for it. This may go into spoiler territory for part 3, or if you've never played the original Final Fantasy VII. So if you don't want to be spoiled by exactly how this is resolved, I don't recommend watching the rest of this video because it will go into spoiler territory. But I want to express this so much that if you do have this opinion or feel like, oh, they may have something here with this thought, please wait until part 3. If you do not want to play the OG and are waiting for part 3, please wait until part 3 to really understand the full scope about what is happening with Cloud and the whole memory thing, and just wait until then to finally see the final conclusion to all of Cloud's memories and his character arc. All right, so this whole thing started because some fans do not believe that Tifa is doing things right by Cloud, right? That she's withholding information, that the only other person that knows the information about what happened in Nibelheim is Tifa. She has the correct memory. She knows what the right memory is about the events of Nibelheim. But she does not tell Cloud at all. This makes her look awful. This makes her look like she's trying to gaslight, which, by the way, no, that's not what gaslighting is. If you really want to see what gaslighting is, just look at what Sephiroth is doing throughout the entire game of Rebirth. But Tifa is not doing this on purpose. She's not trying to withhold information from Cloud. She's not trying to become this person where she is trying to prevent Cloud from remembering the actual truth. Because she does try to tell him the truth. But things happen that prevent Cloud from actually listening to her. Right? And in Calm, when they are first learning about, the rest of the party are learning about what happens in Nibelheim, they listen to the story. And Tifa, throughout the entire time Cloud is telling his side of the story, his point of view of the story, she feels a little confused. There are moments where she does look confused. And the reason why is because everything that Cloud is saying is very, very close to the same things that she remembers. Very close. But there is a difference in what Cloud is saying. He's trying to tell the events of Nibelheim through what he believes is his point of view as a soldier, as a member of Soldier that was with Sephiroth. But that's the thing. It's not his point of view. The point of view he's sharing, the point of view of the story that he's saying, that he's telling, is through Zack's point of view. That is what Cloud is remembering of the Nibelheim incident. But it does not correlate with the actual memories of what happens in Nibelheim, which Tifa has. However, Tifa is so shocked, so confused about how accurate Cloud is being with those events, that she is starting to question her own memories. Because as far as she knows from her own memories, Cloud was never there. Cloud was never at Nibelheim. So she is shocked and confused and like, what? But Cloud wasn't there. And yet he's able to accurately tell the entire party exactly what happened, the events of Nibelheim. So that's why she's like, am I confused? Is my memories bad? Because remember, part of the whole thing with the Mount Nebo incident is that Tifa doesn't remember exactly what happened during that. And she believes that a similar situation is happening here, that, the event was so scarring that maybe her memory is getting confused. Maybe her memory is wrong. But that's the thing. Her memory is correct. Everything that she remembers of the Nibelheim incident is correct. Cloud is the one that is telling everyone the actual events of Nibelheim, but not in the correct way. That is the difference. It's not Tifa trying to withhold information. It's not Tifa trying to confuse Cloud. That is old Sephiroth. That is old Jenova with the J cells inside Cloud, because they do not want him to remember the events of Nibelheim. Because that is key. That is key to getting Cloud to return the black materia to Sephiroth in the North Crater that's going to occur in Part 3. If they know that if he remembers everything about Nibelheim and exactly what happened there and exactly what his position was during the events of Nibelheim, then he will actually be able to realize, I shouldn't be doing this. The black material, no, I shouldn't give this to Sephiroth. They're trying to confuse the hell out of Cloud by gaslighting him. Sephiroth appearing, telling him that Tifa is dead. How could she be alive if I killed her? That is the definition of gaslighting. And they're trying to prevent Cloud from remembering anything because they know Cloud is the key to returning the black materia to Sephiroth. So they prevent Cloud from remembering anything about the actual events. Tifa tries her best to tell Cloud about exactly what happened, exactly what occurred during those events. But anytime she tries to tell Cloud anything about what happened there, you see the static happen. You see Jenova interfering and trying very hard to make sure that Cloud does not remember it. which is why Sephiroth is trying to tear them apart throughout the entire rebirth, telling, Cloud that she's fake, that she died. This isn't her. This is Jenova playing tricks on Cloud. Because they know that if Tifa tries, or Tifa finds a way to get Cloud to remember exactly what happened, they lose Cloud. They lose the influence on Cloud to make sure that they get him to do what they want. That reunion. That's the whole point. This isn't Tifa trying to, make sure that he doesn't remember anything because she wants to. She tries. There's even a story event that is actually canon to the story because in Dear Destiny it is referenced there, where Tifa finds Cloud at the train station. She tries to ask him what happened. We haven't seen each other in 5 years or whatever the time is. She wants to know exactly what happened. And Cloud tries to remember, but Jenova fucks with him. And Tifa notices this. This isn't something that only we, the players, get to see. Tifa notices, oh, wait a minute. If I try to pursue this, something good is going on with Cloud. All of a sudden, he looks like he's descending into darkness, like he's losing consciousness. It's literally right there for you. Even happens in Calm when Tifa and Cloud discuss about the memories. She literally tries to confront him about it, but you see the static, and then Cloud just tells her, I can't tell you that. Jenova and Sephiroth are literally trying to prevent Cloud from remembering this and try to continue to put this wedge in between them. Because they know Tifa has the accurate memories and trying to prevent Tifa from getting close to Cloud and trying to get Cloud to remember those events. This is really up in your face. Tifa. It's really right there, right in front of you. It is not something that they are inferring or making references to throughout the entire game. No, they show you exactly what is happening anytime Tifa tries to connect with Cloud in terms of those memories. This isn't Tifa trying to withhold memories. She knows that there's something wrong with Cloud. That anytime she tries to confront him about it, something goes wrong. But there's one other thing that could happen if Tifa tries or forces Cloud to remember the events of Nibelheim while he still is influenced by Jenova, and that is that he has a complete mental breakdown. If he does have a complete mental breakdown, then Cloud is lost. There's no way for him or anyone to help him anymore at that point because he just completely breaks. He winds up in a coma, which he eventually does in the North Crater, and then you find him in a mid-deal. But Tifa tries hard to make sure that doesn't happen, which is why she's not trying to force him to remember it. She tries to give small hints to try to get him to open up, which he kind of does in the Gongaga bedroom scene. But she tries very hard to pursue this very delicately because she knows that Cloud is suffering through something and that anything, if she tries to force it, things can go bad and Cloud could mentally just break down. This idea that they're trying to vilify Tifa in this regard is just so awful interpretation of these moments. It's right in your face. And a lot of the times people will always say, well, Aerith will be able to help him with his memories. She won't hold back, the memories of Nibelheim and send to Cloud. If she knew, boom, she would instantly tell him, She'll make sure that Cloud knows. She wouldn't withhold the information and try to misguide Cloud. But the thing is, she knows that Cloud's memories of Nibelheim may not be correct because she and Tifa discuss this literally in Calm. They talk about it. Tifa literally tells her that, oh, because I do not remember Cloud being there. So they discuss the memories. They discuss that there's some sort of conflict with their memories. This makes Tifa just feel like, oh, maybe my memories are wrong. Should I be doubting myself and my memories? No, I don't understand. It's right there. They're not hiding it. It's right in your face that there's something wrong, and Tifa and Aerith both know this. Why is Tifa getting the slander? Why is Tifa getting essentially the one convicted of being this type of person that is misguiding Cloud when Aerith had every chance to tell him, oh, I think your memories are a little off. I think this is not what happened. Granted, I don't know if Aerith does know about the memories of what happened in Nibelheim through Tifa's point of view. We know they discussed it in Calm, but we never really see that full discussion. But it's very likely she knows that something is wrong with Cloud's memories and that she believes Tifa's memories more so than what Cloud is remembering. Because it did seem to her a little bit off as well. And she had plenty of opportunities to discuss this with Cloud as well. Even in the Gongaga dates, whether you choose Aerith or Tifa, they know that there's something wrong. That they both try to get Cloud to really come out of his shell, to really tell or explain like what exactly is going on with him. Cloud and Tifa had this very emotional moment where they connect about those false memories. Even Cloud is like, I feel like there's two people inside me. I have two different memories and I don't know which one is real or not. He's really confessing to Tifa about this, that this is his insecurity. Even with Aerith, she knows that the real Cloud is hiding behind this facade that he's currently putting on. That she knows that there's something deeper within Cloud, but she is not able to reach it. She's not able to reach that Cloud, and that's why she wants to know the real Cloud, because she doesn't know him. All of this is really right in your face, and it's so like unbelievable that people are not recognizing this. Like, did anyone really play the OG game? Because it's literally in the OG game too. I don't get it. I could tell you what I believe is the reason why they want to vilify Tifa, and it's really a very insecure and petty reason for it, but I know it's probably not everyone's reason for it. But the idea that they want to use this as, you know, giving gold stars to Aerith to make her look great in comparison to Tifa, it's just it's one of the worst things you can do whenever you try to prop up your character. You could like your character so freaking much by just talking about how great they are, without ever trying to slander the other character. I have never tried to slander Aerith in any way in regards to making Tifa look better, because I like Aerith. I don't hate her. I don't think she's a bad character, and I never try to slander her character in order to prop up Tifa. That's just, I would never do that. I don't do that with any characters, because why? I could talk about why I like this character way more. And it would be way more beneficial than trying to slander the other character. It's an insecure behavior that, for whatever reason, people love doing online. It is a lack of criticism or explaining your criticism about a character that you don't like, or trying to find a way to prop up or just tell us why you love the other character so much. That's the only way you know how to criticize. It's lack of like critical thinking in that regard. There are so many different ways you could prop up your character without ever slandering another character. And this whole thing with Tifa trying to really paint her in a bad light, trying to paint her as a villain because she's withholding information about Cloud's memories of Nibelheim, is just wrong. It's such a bad interpretation, bad reading comprehension of that moment, of that whole moment between them, their character dynamic, their character relationship. It's just so horrible. You're literally believing what Sephiroth is telling you. You're being gaslit by Sephiroth. Maybe that was the intention of Nojima. I don't know, but you're literally believing Sephiroth. That's what you are doing in this situation. You're believing the villain, the actual villain of the story, because you have favoritism or an agenda for one other character. And even if you don't, let's say you do not have a favoritism for Aerith and you still come with that take. Why do you think Nojima or any of the devs will ever paint a heroine or a hero character like Tifa in that light at all, at any point in time in the story? Why? Why would they make her look that bad? Just, it really doesn't take that much to think, okay, maybe that's not what they're doing. Maybe they're not trying to vilify her. There is a reason for everything that occurs. If you never played the OG and only are relying on the remake project, wait until part 3 to make that choice, to make that decision about why you think this is happening. Because everything is explained in part 3. I understand there's going to be some people saying, well, why does it need to be explained in part 3 when it could have been explained in Rebirth? The thing is, they show you exactly what is happening. You're just not getting it right now. You're just not understanding that, oh, that is exactly what is happening. I wonder where this is going to lead to in part 3. You're just skipping all of that and just not wanting to paint Tifa in this bad light. It's really ridiculous. It makes no sense whatsoever. And frankly, I hate it when people do this so freaking much. It really is one of the most bothersome things I ever hear from any sort of fandom, where you have to prop up your favorite character by slandering another. I don't know if this video will help anyone in regards to really understanding why this is happening and why Tifa is really trying hard not to really confuse Cloud or try to tell Cloud the real story, because she herself is afraid that she will lose Cloud if she tries to push it too hard. That's the thing. If you try to push it too hard into Cloud, you lose him. And that's what they're telling you. Whenever there's a static, whenever Cloud slowly loses like consciousness, or like it looks like he's going to a deep state, that's because every time they try to push towards that actual memory, that's what happens with Cloud, because of Genova cells, what Sephiroth is doing. All of that is important. The static is important. You have to pay attention to that, because that is going to lead to the revelation, everything that you will finally see in part 3, where all of this is finally connected, and that we find out the truth about what happened in Nibelheim and Cloud himself. So please do not believe this take until part 3 comes out, because it is just wrong interpretation coming from individuals who likely want to shit on Tifa, who want to slander on Tifa for whatever reason. Whether it be because they're Aerith fans, whether they believe that Cloud and Aerith is the ship that they enjoy, don't believe them until you actually play either the original or part 3. And even after that, and you still believe that take, I'm sorry, but then you just misunderstood or misinterpreted the entire thing. I don't know what else to say. And I'm saying it possibly in the nicest way possible, that you just misunderstood all of it. So the only thing I can tell you is that please replay the games. Please replay those moments and see why it is not a good take to have. You don't have to like Tifa. I'm not saying that replaying the game or trying to understand what is happening means that you have to like Tifa. You don't have to like Tifa. No one is saying that. It's when you try to mischaracterize her and try to slander her, that's what most Tifa fans get upset over. Tifa should not be seen as the villain, because at the end of the day, it is Sephiroth, it is Genova that are the real villains of the story. And they are messing with Cloud. They are messing with him, and no matter how much Tifa or even Aerith tried, they cannot reach him. But there's a moment in part 3, considered one of the greatest scenario moments in gaming history, is going to tell you everything you need to know. So please wait until part 3, or if you want to play the OG, please do so, because then you'll see exactly why this take is just really bad, just filled with agenda and just pettiness and insecurity. So let me know what you think. Please let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time, okay? Bye-bye.